Om Shanti, are you all happy? Today we are going to discuss about Dussehra and happy Dussehra everybody. So Dussehra is celebrated after Navaratri, after those 9 nights where Devi Durga is fighting with the demon king Mahishasur. And those 9 nights are called Navaratri, and it also marks the fight between Lord Shri Ram and Ravan. So in his attempt to rescue his wife who was kidnapped by Ravan, so he fights with Ravan for those 9 nights. So on the 10th day they celebrate the victory over the evil demon king, whether it's Mahishasur or Ravan. So on the same day, on the 10th day, they celebrate both Dussehra and Vijaya dashami. So Vijaya dashami is for Durga Devi who conquered Mahishasur, and this Dussehra is to mark the victory over Ravan by Lord Shri Ram. So as we all know, during Vijaya dashami, actually during these 9 nights, they will have a large statue of Devi Durga made, and they decorate that with gold, flowers, and they perform puja daily. On the 10th day, they take the statues of Devi Durga and along with Ganesh and Kartik statues, and they take it to ocean or river and they just sink it. Likewise, for Dussehra, they create a huge effigy of Ravan and they burn the effigy. That's how they celebrate Dussehra. But what we forgot to notice is both these types of celebrations, whether it's burning of Ravan, whether it's sinking of Devi Durga, they both represent the same thing, but we are just not aware of the spiritual deep meaning behind that kind of celebration. We should understand that Sita is not somebody that we do not know of. It is us who is truly Sita, that is the soul. So we are the souls, not this perishable body, but imperishable soul. So these souls or Sita Devis, they got abducted by Ravan 2500 years back when this world was turned into hell. Before that it was heaven. We were very safe. But while in heaven, which means this world was heaven in the beginning for the first 2500 years, followed by the next 2500 years, by then this world has become hell. So we are now undoubtedly in hell. So God comes in the last 100 years of Kali Yuga, and he comes to rescue Sita Devis, that is to rescue souls. Because we got abducted by Ravan. What is Ravan? Ravan is not a human or any living being. So Ravan, it represents the 5 vices: lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego. These 5 vices are present both in men and women. They are combinedly called 10-headed Ravan. So we have become slaves to this Ravan for the past 2500 years. You know why? Because we became body conscious. We started to consider ourselves to be this body since the last 2500 years, and before that we were soul conscious. We didn't consider ourselves to be this perishable body. Instead, we would consider ourselves continuously to be this imperishable soul, and we will address each other as souls. We don't get attracted towards the beauty, external beauty. Instead, our focus will be on the soul while we speak with somebody. So that's how we did not become slaves for these vices. As a result, we had this enormous power by which we had the total control over our mind, over our body, over these 5 elements, because our mind was not corrupted by these 5 vices, or Ravan, or Saturn, or Mahishasur, or any Asur. So they all represent these 5 vices. So what happens after the completion of first 2500 years is we slowly become body conscious, because we totally forget that we are soul. So day by day our body consciousness keeps on increasing. That's how we become slaves of the sensual pleasures and these 5 vices: lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego, because of which we have to face so many problems, we have to face so many sorrow and pain, because that's the characteristics of these 5 vices. In the beginning it should be as if it's going to give us some pleasure, but when we go after them, then we will be arrested by Ravan, as Sita Devi got kidnapped and arrested by Ravan. Even in Ramayana, do you know when Sita Devi got kidnapped? Not when he actually kidnapped, as mentioned in Ramayana, but the very moment when Sita Devi got attracted by the sight of the golden deer, in that very second she got kidnapped. So on getting attracted to it, she sends her husband, who protects her in that wild forest, to get that golden deer for her. Likewise, whenever we get attracted towards the worldly matters, we send God away from us. He is there to protect us, but we are sending him away from us whenever we get attracted to the worldly, perishable things, or humans, or fame. So God comes in the end and he reveals this secret, that he created this world as the perfect heaven, filled with treasures of jewels and diamonds, and humans, they were called deities, and we Hindus still worship those deities without even realizing that we were originally born as deities in the beginning. So we were also perfect. The world would also be a very perfect place. It would be filled with happiness and peacefulness. There won't even be the slightest trace of sorrow or pain anywhere in the world, not only for human beings, for any living beings. Even lion and tiger, they would feed on plants, unlike they feed on animals as it does now. No, it would feed only on plants. So that's why in Quran and Bible it is mentioned that lion and lamb, they take water together in the same pond, which means they don't feed on each other, they don't cause harm to each other. It's all because we were soul conscious and we were very loving, and that loving vibration spread across the world and makes all the living beings around us to also be loveful and peaceful. But after the completion of 2500 years, when we become body conscious, when we become addicted to the sensual pleasures, we are sending that negative vibrations around us that spoils all the animals and birds around us, because of which the world has become hell that we see today. So God now informs that if you change yourself, your pattern of thinking, as you did in the beginning in Satyug, then the whole world will also automatically change and it will become Satyug. So for that you have to destroy the Ravan, the 5 vices within you. How do you do that? The secret is mentioned in Ramayana itself. So we are familiar with the fight between the twin brothers Sugriv and Vali, right? They are identical twins, and Vali has captured the kingdom of Sugriv and also captured his wife. So Sugriv, he seeks the support of Shri Ram in killing Vali. Do you think God or deity will kill anybody? No. So what it actually means is not Sugriv and Vali are two different persons. The reason they are portrayed as identical twins, they look alike, it obviously means they are not two persons but one and the same. So when we become addicted to these five vices, we become Vali. So we have to kill the Vali in us so that we can become Sugriv. How do you do that? So in that fight, everybody blames Ram for hiding behind the mountain and killing Vali with his arrow, right? But according to Purana stories, they have some other reasons, unique reasons. But the original spiritual reason is there's no fight, because here the aim is to become the deity. We don't become deity by fighting. We become deity by getting rid of those five vices, which also includes fighting. So we shouldn't quarrel with anybody no matter what. Even if somebody fights with us voluntarily without any reason, we should not fight back. Instead, we should stay calm and we should behave lovingly towards them. So that's how we become deity. So that's why Ram asks Sugriv to wear the garland of flowers so that he can differentiate between these two brothers, which means we are wearing these garlands, subtle garlands, invisible garlands of divine characters, which are love, peace, bliss, power, purity. So we are wearing that. By wearing that continuously, we slowly become Sugriv, which means we slowly kills Vali that is within us. So we become the deity. God doesn't fight for us, but because he doesn't want us to fight, how can he fight, right? So he is love, God is love, how can he fight? He wouldn't cause harm to anybody either through words or actions. So what he says is, he just asks us to imbibe the divine qualities that we originally possessed in the beginning. How do we know that? That's what God says daily through an old man's mouth. So God comes to this world from his supreme abode. This is called Parandam, or the soul world, or Parlok. That's where God wills. That's where we souls reside in the beginning, before taking birth on earth. So we take birth and we take rebirth. So we enter this birth and death cycle that continues for 5,000 years, which is called a kalpa. But God doesn't enter this birth and death cycle, which means he doesn't take birth in a womb of a mother. Instead, he enters an old man's body directly in the last 100 years of Kali Yuga. And he names that old man as Brahma, and through his mouth he gives these teachings called Murli. So that Murli is available totally free of cost in all Raj Yoga meditation centers across the world. So you can Google for the nearest center address in your country. So you got to listen to it daily. So in that Murli, he reveals all the divine qualities that we originally possessed in the beginning. So we have to constantly listen to it daily, and we have to stop listening to all the things that's been going on around us in Kali Yuga. So this Kali Yuga is itself a forest, because everybody has these five vices, and also it is within us, because we were in Kali Yuga before taking this knowledge. After taking this knowledge, now we belong to a separate yuga, a subtle yuga called Sangam Yuga, or confluence age. So that represents the hut where Ram and Sita resides in the middle of the forest. So what protects her? Ram is protecting. So even when he goes after the deer, he says, he asks Lakshman to take care of her. And when she forces Lakshman to leave the place in search of Ram because she thinks Ram is in danger, even then Lakshman, he actually draws a line and asks Sita Devi not to cross it, so that nobody can enter that line to cause any damage to her. So she says, okay, but still when Ravan comes in the form of a saint, she stepped out of the line, because of which he kidnapped her. So likewise, these voices, they come in disguise. So they won't announce beforehand that I am Maya, beware. No, it wouldn't do that. It comes in the form of lust. It comes in the angry situation. So anybody while speaking with you, they may use certain words that will hurt you in that instant. So in that very instant, you become angry. That's how you become slaves of Ravan. So you got to be Om Shanti, which means you should always be at peace. So Om Shanti itself means, Om means I'm a soul, Shanti means, peace, right? So I'm a peaceful soul. So you got to say this repeatedly, and you have to remember God as a point of light, God Shiv as a point of light. So this God Shiv is called Allah by Muslims, and Heavenly Godfather by Christians. So God is just one. All the others are deities. That is the creation of God, or the sons and daughters of God. So all we need to do to kill Ravan is to consider ourselves to be the soul and not this body. So, and we have to remember God as a point of light. The more we remember, the more we can get rid of this body consciousness. So finally, we will totally forget that we are this body. Instead, we would consider ourselves to be this imperishable point of light. That's when we killed Ravan completely, killed Mahishasur completely. That's why on the final day of Vijaya Dashami, they sink the statues of Devi Durga, which means we are sinking the body consciousness. So from Bhagavad Gita that soul cannot be immersed, soul cannot be burnt. So soul is everlasting. So when you get rid of this body consciousness, what remains? The soul. So when you become fully soul conscious, that's when you celebrate the victory over Ravan or Mahishasur. And that's why they burn the effigy of Ravan. So we are burning him by remembering God, by bringing soul consciousness. So also we have to be aware, we have to pay attention to the fact that we don't fall for Ravan. He may cheat us, he may take any form to cheat us. So we have to, whenever we fall for Ravan, the immediate thing we lose is peace. That's why we have to pay attention to our true nature, that is the peacefulness. So we will remain peaceful as long as we consider ourselves to be the soul, as long as we connect our mind to God Shiva. If we forget that, that's the moment Ravan kidnaps us. So this is an ongoing fight for the last 100 years. It's happening now or never. If we are steadfast in conquering Ravan, then we become the emperor and the empresses of the new world, Satyug. So the number one king and queen are Lakshmi Narayan. Yes, that's why in South India they have this celebration called the opening of heaven in Mahavishnu temple, because they are the kings and queens of the new world. It could be you, it could be me. It all depends on effort. It all depends on the faith that we have in God and the knowledge given directly by God. Rush to the nearest Raja Yoga meditation center and get this knowledge free of cost. And also you can Google for the Murli in your language. So you can also read it, because during corona shutdown maybe some centers are not opened yet, but still don't waste time. Grab the opportunity very quickly, because it's now or never. Just by making effort in this one birth, we are entering heaven that is filled with all treasures for the next 2500 years. So imbibe this knowledge and also share this knowledge to everybody by sharing this video. If you like this video, hit on like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Thanks for watching. Happy Vijaya Dashami, happy Dussehra. Thanks again.